Thank you for watching this presentation. My name is Luis Silva. I am an American government teacher, and today we're looking at becoming a United States citizen. We are going to be reviewing Form N-400, which is the application for naturalization or the application to become a United States citizen. We are going to be looking at the general instructions, general requirements that will get you ready to submit your application. Do not forget to subscribe to this channel to get more updates. Let's move on. Before filing any application, you must make sure you are submitting the correct version of the N-400 application. Now, in order for you to download the correct version, you need to go to the following link, and this is where you will get to the application, fill it out, and submit it. Remember that this form is free. If anybody tries to sell it to you, please do not purchase it because you can actually get it for free from the USCIS, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services website. But let's take a look at the application so that you get a feel as to what you need to have in order to fill this application properly and become a United States citizen. Let's go to the application now. What you have in front of you is Form N-400, application for naturalization, or the application to become a United States citizen. I'm going to quickly go over some of the parts that you need to answer in order to get you ready to fill out the application and become a United States citizen. First of all, make sure that you use black ink in order to fill out this application. And make sure that you read all the directions and also review all the information that I'm giving you in order to fill this form correctly. Part 1 is basically information about your eligibility. Immigration wants to know if you are qualified, if you are eligible to become a United States citizen. So you must carefully read all the options that you have here for Part 1 in order to determine if you qualify to become a United States citizen. Part number 2 is what we have right now. This is basically information about you. It's asking your name and all of the information that has to do with you. By the way, please remember to have your green card ready, and also remember to have your Social Security because you will need that information. As you can see, Part 2 is all about you. Part 3 is very important, and it has to do with accommodations for individuals with disabilities and or impairments. If you have a disability, this part applies to you. Make sure that you answer all the questions properly. Part 4 is information to contact you, such as your daytime telephone number or your email. Make sure that you provide a phone number that's reliable. Make sure that you provide an email that you check often. Don't provide an email that you rarely go into or that you have forgotten your password, username. Make sure that you provide a reliable email. Part 5 has to do with information about your residence. Where have you lived? Have you moved? Make sure that you have that information ready because immigration wants to know where you have lived and if you have moved recently. Part number 6 is information about your parents. Once again, make sure that you have all information ready so that you can properly fill out this application. Immigration wants to know about your parents, your mom, your dad. Part number 7 is biographic information. Make sure that you fill out this part correctly. Make sure that you take your time. Do not be rushing through this application because you may make a mistake and obviously submit the incorrect information. So make sure that you take your time. This way you have all the correct information in the application. Part number 9 has to do with time outside the United States. Have you visited other places? Have you visited other countries? And if you have done so, where have you been to and for how long? So make sure that you have this information ready. Part number 10 is information about your marital history. Please make sure that if you have been divorced a couple of times, make sure that you have dates, make sure that you have all of the information, like when you separated or when you officially became divorced from another person. So make sure you have that ready when you're filling out this part of the application. Immigration wants to know who was the prior person that you were married to. And make sure that you have, once again, all of that information ready to be submitted, and that is actually correct, especially with dates. Now, part 11 has to do with information about your children. Please make sure that you have all of the information that pertains to your children, as immigration wants to know that. Make sure that you have all evidence, all documents, because you may have to submit some of that information to immigration, and they want to know who you are, they want to know about your family, they want to know what you've done, they want to know where you have lived. Part number 12 is additional information about you. Please make sure that you are truthful with all of these responses. Make sure that you are as honest as possible so that immigration can actually have a good feeling for who you are. And here you have a whole bunch of questions that must be answered, and they want you to answer them truthfully. Because remember, immigration has many ways of finding out anything and everything about you. So just be truthful with the responses. There's nothing wrong with being truthful. To the contrary, they will like that about you. And just be truthful about everything. Part number 13 has to do with applicant statement, certification, and signature. Make sure that you read this section carefully. Make sure that you answer all parts carefully, and you should be okay with the immigration officer. Part number 14 has to do with interpreters, contact information, certification, and signature. If you used an interpreter to actually get this application done, make sure that you have this information about the interpreter ready, and that you tell immigration who's the person that basically helped you with this. Part 15 has to do with contact information, declaration, and signature of the person preparing this application. If other than the applicant, for example, if somebody else is helping you get this application ready, we need that information to be in this part of the application. Make sure that you're truthful. Immigration will not be angry with you or mad with you because you're being truthful with what you are doing. Now, let's go to part 16. But before we actually get to part 16, if you look at the top of the presentation, it says, note, do not complete parts 16, 17, or 18 until the USCIS officer instructs you to do so at the interview. So basically, once you're done with part 15, you're basically done with the application, because from what the directions tell you, you will fill out the rest of this application in front of the immigration officer. So this is the application that you have to fill out, and this is the application that will determine your eligibility to become a United States citizen. Make sure that you fill it carefully. Make sure that you are ready to become a United States citizen. Now let's move on with the rest of the presentation. All right, so we just reviewed the application to become a United States citizen, but I do want to bring this to your attention. Make sure this is the first page of the application to become a United States citizen. Make sure that you are using the correct version of the application. As you can see to the right-hand side, top right-hand side of this application, this particular application expires 09/30/2022. So that means that after this particular date, you have to use the newer version of this application. So just keep this in mind when you are filling out the application to become a United States citizen. As you saw, as we were reviewing the application, this version of the application has 20 pages and a combined total of 18 parts. Please make sure to go back to this presentation if you have any more questions on the N-400 application. Before you do anything with Form N-400, we must check to make sure that you are eligible to become a United States citizen. In other words, you want to make sure that you qualify to be a United States citizen. Because remember, with this application, you will send money. You will have to pay for it. And you do not want to lose your money. So let's make sure that you qualify to become a United States citizen. And here are some general guidelines in order for you to be successful at completing your application. First of all, you must be at least 18 years of age at the time you file. You must be a permanent resident or have a green card, in other words, for at least 5 years, or be a permanent resident and married to and living with a United States citizen for at least a period of 3 years. Please remember this. If you are married to a United States citizen, you must be living with him or her for a period of no less than 3 years. You must demonstrate continuous presence and residence in the United States immediately before you file your N-400 application. You must be able to read and speak basic English. Please make sure that you look at the links that I will be providing to you at the description part of this video. This way you can go to those links and get more information on everything that I'm letting you know and talking to you about right now. But let's look at some of the exemptions that you have available and you can take advantage of to become a United States citizen. You must also pass the Civics test that has 128 questions. You will be tested on 20 questions and must get 12 or more answers correct. I will also be giving you links so that you can go and study those 128 questions. These are 2 videos that I have for you. 2021 new U.S. citizenship test, 128 official questions and answers. You have the links in front of you, and I will also be providing those links at the end of this presentation and also on the description part of this video. Here are some of the accommodations. You have at the bottom of this presentation the link to this particular page on the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services website. And as you can see here, there are certain exceptions and accommodations when you go to the interview to become a United States citizen. First of all, some of those exceptions and accommodations include the English language exceptions, medical disability exceptions to English and civics, continuous residence exceptions, disability accommodations, among other things. Please look at the links that I will be providing so that you can closely review the exceptions that are being given to you. One of the most common exceptions that is given to individuals that are applying is the English language exceptions. You are exempt from the English language requirement but are still required to take the civics test if you are age 50 or older at the time of filing for naturalization and also have lived as a permanent resident with a green card in the United States for 20 years. This is commonly referred to as the 50-20 exception. If you are 55 years or older at the time of filing for naturalization and have lived as a permanent resident in the United States for 15 years, you also get an exception. This is referred to as the 55-15 exception. By the way, you're more than welcome to read everything that has to do with the English language exceptions. But as you can see, you have different options, different opportunities that are given to you in order to become a United States citizen. Like I have mentioned to you before, when filling out your application, please make sure that you print clearly using black ink. In case you run into a scenario that you need extra space to answer questions, make sure you attach additional sheets of paper. You must include on the top of each additional sheet of paper the following information. Very important. Please make sure you follow this if you're adding more information to your application. Number one, you need to have your name. Number two, you need to have your A number, or better known as the alien registration number, your green card number. You need to have the date. You need to have the application page number, the part number, as well as item number. And finally, do not forget your signature. Make sure to answer all questions. If an item is not applicable to you, you may type or print NA, just like you see it here, which basically means not applicable. You must complete sections 1 through 15, like I have mentioned to you before, like I mentioned to you when we were reviewing the application. You must only complete sections 1 through 15 of the application. Do not complete parts 16, 17, or 18 until USCIS officer instructs you to do so at the interview. Always provide your A number on the top right corner of each page when applicable. Your A number is located on your green card. You have an example in front of you. You see that box or those numbers that are in the middle of the square, red square. That is your A number, your green card number. The A number can consist of 7 to 9 numbers. If your A number has less than 9 numbers, you need to replace zeros before the first number to make a total of 9 numbers. For example, if your A number is A 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you see there we're missing a couple of numbers to make it to 9 numbers. So you must write your number on the application as A00345678 That makes a total of 9 numbers. This is how you must fill out your application to become a United States citizen. And here we have an example of what I just gave you. The green card in this case only had 7 numbers. So what we did is we added 00 in front of the first number, and that made it a total of 9 numbers. In order for your application to be accepted by USCIS, it must be properly completed and signed. A photocopy of the application is acceptable, but it must have a handwritten signature. No signature, remember, equals a rejection. Now let's look at the current filing fees for the N-400 application, or the application to become a United States citizen. First of all, you need to have the fee that is required by USCIS, which is $640. On top of that, you have to add an $85 fee for your fingerprints, biometrics. Please remember, this fee may go up depending on current litigation in the courts. The fee may be the following. Be alert. The N-400 application for naturalization, if you're filing online, it potentially can be $1,160. The N-400 application for naturalization, if you're filing on paper, like we're reviewing right now, it will be $1,170. Now, this is current litigation. So currently, the fee is a combined total of $725. This includes USCIS fees and it includes your fingerprint fees. Please make sure you remember that. Make sure that you follow all directions. Now, if you're paying by check, in this case, personal check, you have in front of you an image of a check, and this is how your check must look like when you send it to immigration. This is how you need to send your check. Do not do it any other way because it may get rejected. Now, there is a fee waiver guidance. So make sure that if you qualify, you use form I-912 request fee waiver. This will actually provide you some financial relief in order for you to avoid paying for this application. Once again, the form is I-912 request fee waiver. And here you have a link to actually get to the form that you have to fill out to request this fee waiver. Also, this link will be given to you on the description part of this video. Early filing. You are allowed to file Form N-400 90 days before you complete your permanent resident requirement. You may use the early filing calculator to help you file your Form N-400 with USCIS no more than 90 days prior to your permanent resident anniversary date. USCIS will deny your N-400 application if you file more than 90 days prior to your anniversary date. Use the early filing calculator to determine when you can send your application. And I'm giving you here a link. Once again, this link will also be given to you when you look at the description part of this video. Generally, you have two options for filing your N-400 application. First is online, and the second one is on paper. Make sure, once again, that you're following all the directions in order to get you to become a United States citizen. Now, let's look at the places where you need to send your N-400 application with all required documents. To the left-hand side, you have different states, including California, Hawaii, Kansas, and many other states. If you are applying and you live in one of those states, to the right-hand side, you have the addresses where you need to send your application to. The same here. Look at the list of states to the left-hand side, and you will be mailing your N-400 application with all documents, supporting documents, to the address on the right-hand side. And finally, we have the other states here, which end with Pennsylvania, and the same thing. If you live on one of those states, to the left-hand side, you need to submit your N-400 application to the address given to you on the right-hand side. If you are a military member or family member, please read the directions below as to where you need to file your application in order to become a United States citizen. Now, let's look at the evidence. Document checklist. All required evidence and supporting documents must be submitted with your application at the time of filing. That may include a copy of your green card. That may include a copy of divorce papers. That may include a copy of your son or daughter or children's birth certificates. Immigration will ask you to submit those documents. Make sure that you look at the link below, which I will provide to you in the description part of this video, and make sure that you are submitting all the documents that you're being asked to do so. It is very important for you to do this. If you do not submit your documents as per the guidelines, your application process may be rejected or may be delayed. So make sure that you're following through on that. Biometric appointment. After you file your application, USCIS will schedule your biometric service appointment at a local support center or ASC to provide your fingerprints, photograph, and also your signatures. Your appointment notice is known as Form I-797C, Notice of Action, will include the date, time, and location for your ASC appointment. If you fail to attend this appointment, your application may be denied or may be delayed. The biometrics you provide during your ASC appointment allows USCIS to confirm your identity and run required backgrounds and security checks. Do not forget your appointment notice and valid ID when you go to your appointment, because they will ask you, once you go to the center where you're taking your fingerprints, they will ask you for your appointment. Do not forget it. Here is a copy of the Form I-797C, and this is how it should look like. You see there, you have, first of all, like your name, your date, your case number, and obviously where you need to go to in order to get your biometrics or fingerprints done. Make sure you follow through with this letter. Also, as a reminder, any document copies, unless specifically required, a legible photocopy may be submitted. Original documents may remain part of the record and will not be automatically returned to you. So make sure that if you're asked to submit documents, unless immigration tells you you must submit the original document, do not submit the original document, but instead make sure you send copies of those documents. In terms of translation, documents submitted with information in a foreign language need to be accompanied by a full English language translation. The translator must certify that the English language translation is complete and accurate, and that he or she is competent to translate from the foreign language into English. This is very important because sometimes you may have a marriage certificate from another country. Sometimes you may have a birth certificate from another country. Make sure that you Google search and find out who can translate this document, and make sure that that person is certified to translate, because you will be required to submit a translation with your original or your copy of the document. And here are some of the important links that we have been reviewing. Make sure that you go to each link as need be. Also, all of this information here, all of these links are in the description part of this presentation. And here we have some additional resources. In case you need to reach USCIS National Customer Service number, you have the 800 number there. You also have the outside US phone number. You also have the USCIS Contact Center. You have here also the legal help link, which can get you to help you with filling out your application if need be. Also, for more directions on naturalization eligibility, please visit the following link. Once again, this link is being given to you on the resource part of this page. Now, we have come to the end of the general instructions on completing the N-400 application for naturalization. Please make sure to subscribe to this channel, as I will be bringing you updates as soon as they come out from immigration. And next, we are going to be reviewing in more details the N-400 application. I will see you in the next presentation.